Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Knitting Texan podcast. My name is Rin, also known as Knitting Texan on Ravelry, and I am coming to you from a small town in Texas where I'm from and where I live with my family. I do have both dogs in here, so we shall see how this goes. You may hear dog noises. I don't know if you can actually hear that, but the dogs just came in from when we were swimming, and so they are not happy that they're wet. You may hear dog scratching and general dog noises. I'm recording this a little later than I normally do, as you may be able to tell by the lighting and by the blue in my glasses from my computer screen. But I didn't feel that well yesterday, and I want to get this recorded and out to you guys like I promised. And so, yeah, I'm recording pretty late in the evening, but it is still light. It's 8:15. So it's pretty late in the evening to still have light, but it's summer for you. Alrighty, so let's just go ahead and hop right into it. I have two finished objects, two finished pairs of socks. What else is new? So I have the second sock to my first finished sock that I had last time, which was this one. It's kind of interesting how the self-striping is kind of off, whichever way you do it. And so I kind of like to think of this guy as the darker one and this one as the lighter one. Just, I don't know, my eyes just see it that way. But yeah, I'm super excited to have this guy done, and they will go in my gift box for, the guys in my family. So that's the first pair, and that was Knit Picks Felici in the Bayou colorway. I used Chiaogoo DPN's US size 1 or 2.25 millimeters, I believe. And then this is the second sock for this pair of socks. And so now I've got two of them. I've got a nice pair of socks now. And this is in West Yorkshire Spinners, which I've really come to enjoy. Because it's a very kind of toothy, soft but rustic and warm sock yarn. Because it's got a little bit of BFL in it. And I've really started to enjoy BFL. So this is the second sock for that one. This one is in my size. And it is, again, knit on US size 1, 2.25 millimeter DPNs. Also, if you are interested in how I knit my shorty sock patterns, I've gotten a few questions on that. I kind of made up the pattern myself, but I've been kind of researching patterns that are really close. The crazy sock, it's basically the Crazy Sock Ladies sock, but without the leg, of course, and I just go straight from the cuff into the heel flap and gusset. But I've actually found a pattern that is very close to my how I knit my shorty socks, and so I will link that in the description box below. It is called the Vanilla Splash Socks, I believe, or the Summer Splash Socks by Sarah, who is Day to Day. She has a podcast called Day to Day Knits here on YouTube, and I will link the pattern and her podcast in the description box below. So yeah, I've really been enjoying making socks. These do not count for summer sock camp because I started them after the test on day. And so, well, actually, no, those don't count for summer sock camp. Neither does this one, I think. Actually, no, I don't think it counts. So this is a half object. I only have one of these. This is for my sister, and I am currently working on a pattern for her. And so that's what this guy is. This is in the There Is No Try by Wild Hair, which I believe is an Etsy shop. And again, I will link my Ravelry below, and I have all the details of like what yarns I use, that kind of stuff. And if you have any questions, be sure to ask me in the comments below. So yeah, this colorway turned out really well. I actually really enjoy it. It kind of looks like camo with neon stripes on top of it. And so it actually turned out really cool. And so I've really enjoyed knitting this up. And it kind of turned out into a kind of self-striping colorway, but not really. But again, this is knit on a US size 1. And I'm sorry for the bright. But this is knit on US size 1. Maybe if I do this side. This is knit on a US size 1 DPNs. And yeah, it's just basically my normal sock pattern with a little shorter of a heel flap because my sister has a shorter heel than I do. So yeah, really enjoyed making these. And the second one is not cast on yet, so I'm not even gonna show this guy again. Or show this is the project bag for that, but which is from White Rose Fiber Company. But there's no reason for me to show you because it's just yarn and needles in here. So, and then the second half object is actually for my dad. So my dad has had some issues with dry heels over the years, and we've been trying to find some solutions for it, but it never really quite worked out because my dad has very large feet, very wide, very large feet. Dog noises. And so the moisturizing socks to help people with those issues are usually too small. And so I looked into it, and it turns out wool is actually very good at helping those who struggle with dry feet or dry heels. And so I found the cheapest 100% wool on the stash that I could find, and I made up him some little, not quite socks, because again, it's Texas and we don't need 100% chunky wool socks, like full-blown socks. And so I believe these are called yoga socks, but maybe the yoga socks don't have a heel, but this is basically a sock, but without the toe. And so what I did for this is worsted weight 100% yarn. And again, I got it on super sale, so like the color doesn't really matter. But then I made up a pattern for this sock. So I believe it was 10 rounds of knit one, purl one ribbing, 10 rows of sock, and then I went into leg, and then I went into the heel flap and gusset, which I believe I did. I don't actually remember. Maybe 12 little slip stitch rows, so 24 rows of the heel flap. Then I did the normal gusset decreases, and then after I finished the gusset decreases, I just went straight into ribbing again, and this time it was for 14 rounds, I believe. It's a little longer ribbing on the bottom than it is on the top, and yeah, just worked out really well. It does fit him perfectly, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to giving these to him, help him use to help with his heel problem. But yeah, this one again is not. It's like the other sock; it isn't even cast on. Now I am using something different for this. For these socks, I'm actually using magic loop, which is not something I've had a lot of experience with or success with, I guess would be a better way of putting it. I haven't had much success with the magic loop, but this is for my Chiaogoo interchangeable set. I just basically have 2 cables stuck together, and I am knitting this on a US size 6, I believe. Yes, a 4mm. And so I just am doing this on magic loop, and it's actually turning out pretty well. It is slower than APNs for me just because I'm not used to it, but I have been enjoying it. The only one that's a little funky is when I get to the gusset decreases, and I have all the picked up stitches from the heel flap and the heel stitches on the one needle. And so yeah, it's just a little it gets a little funky with that one. But I have been enjoying it, surprisingly. I've been surprised at how much I've enjoyed it, but I don't want at this time to buy a new set of DPNs for this specific project. But yeah, I've really been enjoying it. This guy was really fast. It probably took me a couple hours just to crank this out. I just haven't had time to cast on the second one yet. So that is my second half project. And if you want to see what they come in, this little bullet kind of put up, I believe I have the tag somewhere. Oh, here it is. So this is the tag. It's Shepherd Classic 100% wool, and they come in 100-gram skeins. And this is, I don't even know if this is still made anymore, but it's 100% wool. You can see there, my camera will focus. 100% wool, as you can probably see up there, and then that's the color. 6706. But it's just kind of like this light baby blue color. And I got 4 skeins of this for, I believe it was $16 for all 4 of them. And one sock only took a quarter of this. And so I will be able to get 2 pairs out of 1. And he only wants 2 pairs, so I'm going to have to find something else to do with the other 3. I mean, unless any of you guys are interested, then I can put it up on my D-Stash on Etsy if any of y'all are interested in some really cheap 100% wool worsted weight yarn. Very nice yarn for how cheap it was. I was very impressed with the quality of it. It's also feltable. So like I'd seen on Ravelry, some people had made felted slippers with this yarn. My brain. And so, yeah, really been enjoying making those. And so my new cast on, I actually have a new cast on. So for summer sock camp, I needed some socks because this is probably the longest I've gone since summer sock camp has started that I haven't started socks. And so I started a pair of socks, and this is out of leftovers. So this is out of a skein from Lolo Did It. It's a black, which is very hard to see because of the way my colors are right now because of my blue screen. But it's Lolo Did It on the top. I used it for the cuff and then went straight into the heel flap with it. And then now that I'm doing the gusset decreases, I'm doing it in Desert Vista Dye Works, leftover from when I did socks. Desert Vista Dye Works in the Bonfire colorway, which that's what it looks like, but the colors are off. This is more the colors. So yeah, I've just been cranking away on socks. And these are knit on Chiaogoo US size 1 DPNs. Yeah, just pretty much simple sock pattern. So I've really been enjoying those, and just having the simplicity of socks, especially since it's been so hot. I believe it's been in the hundreds this last week, which has been really crazy because we didn't really have that last year. And so now having 100-degree weather again has been kind of interesting. But yeah, this is in a Bags by Awesome Granny. I've really been enjoying her bags. I like her little, I believe she calls them notion pouches, but that's it. So yeah, I believe that's all of my works in progress right now. It's kind of boring because I haven't really been knitting very much. But yeah, let's go into next cast-ons. I have not started my Desert Vista Dye Works for this month, and I'm kind of getting tired of the long leg socks because I never wear them. And so I'm going to have to go for the whole two pairs of shorties, which is great because there's only 2 weeks left. 2 weeks left in June, so I've got plenty of time. I may have to make these my July socks, but so this is what I'm planning for, is using this colorway. This is called the Hubbard Glacier, and it's a self-striping. It's a kind of light blue and then dark blue and then kind of a light gray, dark gray, and black, which is really cool. It's a really pretty colorway. I figured these would be my next socks, and then I would make these for me. And those would eventually be in another bag by Bags by Awesome Granny, and the same needles and everything. I'm really boring. I just like what I like, and once I figure out what I like to make, I don't really tend to change it very often, and so I get pretty boring. So basically right now I'm doing socks and crochet blankets, but right now my crochet blankets are so large that showing them right now would be not enjoyable. And there's not that much to show anyways, because I've been mostly knitting socks or not knitting at all. And so, yeah. So I do have an acquisition for this time that I do want to talk about. I've been looking for, so one of the things that I always thought was if some company made a type of cable that was the Chiaogoo, was the Chiaogoo cable, but had the Knitter's Pride knit picks, like the typical ending, that they make a ton of money because people love the Chiaogoo cables, but they are touch and go with the bamboo. If they prefer wood, they're touch and go with the bamboo side of Chiaogoo, and they're also touch and go with the metal side. So, like, they tend to like the needles that of the company that they like to buy from, but they don't like the cable, but they like the cables of the Chiaogoo. So if there was like this mixture, it would be perfect for everybody, or generally everybody, or not really everybody, but you know what I mean, for a large number of people, including myself, because I love the Likey needle tips. I think they're great. I personally like the Likey tips, but I don't like their cables. Their cables are not the greatest. They're very obnoxious, I guess would be a good word for them. If you've ever knit Magic Loop with those, you kind of know what I mean. They kind of get a little curly and they get a little crazy at times. And some people have learned to manage with them. And, you know, I give those people serious kudos for that. But I have found a cable that is the Chiaogoo cable with those endings. So I have a set of, I believe these are Knitter's Pride, but I think I got them from Amazon that were, yeah, they were Knitter's Pride. These are the Knitter's Pride Dreams. And so they're like a bunch of different colors. They're like a bunch of different colors, like each size is a different color. But they've got like these really, I don't like them cables. I'm not going to say horrible cables because I know some people may like them, and you know, to each their own. But I do not like these cables, but I do like the needles because the needles are really nice. I like the wooden needles, but I just really hate the cables. And I don't really like the Chiaogoo wooden line either because they're not as smooth as these. These are pretty smooth for wooden needles, in my opinion and in my experience. And so I wanted to find a cable that was like my Chiaogoo cables, but it was for these kinds of connections, because if you're not aware, the Chiaogoo cables, and I have a Chiaogoo cable that I can show you. So the Chiaogoo cable has this kind of ending, right? Where the needle screws into the cable instead of the cable screwing into the needle, like these guys, where there's a hole on the end. And, you know, that wouldn't work because one doesn't screw into the other. And so, but these cables that I found, they're from Lantern Moon, which is a company that I believe is being manufactured by Knitter's Pride now. But their cables are extremely similar, if not the same, to Chiaogoo. And this is what they look like. They come in a box of 2, and I've been able to find them for as low as like around $9 or $8.50. And they come in a pack of 2, and this is what they look like. But you see, they've got the normal connector, and they work with these guys, right? They have the connection that, you know, Likey, all these different companies use. But the cables act like Chiaogoo cables. Like, that was just turned up, and it's not got the crazy kinks in it. It acts like a Chiaogoo cable. And so I've been really excited about these. I'm basically going to be replacing all of my cables for these needles with these cables because they act just like Chiaogoo, but they've got the connections for Knitter's Pride, Likey, and Knitpicks. And probably, I don't actually know this for a fact because I don't have any, but maybe the Symphony Knit Pro? Is Knit Pro the other one? Or is that the European version of Knitter's Pride? I don't really remember. There's one other company that's also got a ending like this, but the endings are very smooth. It's just like the typical cables, but it's got these really nice Chiaogoo, basically act like Chiaogoo cables. They are this kind of ugly silver, and they have different types. They have a swivel version that's like the Chiaogoo swivel. It swivels, but a lot of people have been complaining that they squeak when you knit, and so I got the fixed version, and so they don't squeak, and but they also don't rotate. So if you wanted like a rotate, and you may get lucky with one that doesn't squeak. It may have just been that particular one that it got squeaks. But like I said, it comes in a pack of 2, which is really cool because, you know, it's $8.50 for 2 cables. What I paid was $8.50 for 2 cables. And it came with endings, and it came with a tool to tighten. I don't actually have the tool with me right here. And here's a little tool that they send with it. It's this really cool wooden, and you can see there it says Lantern Moon on it, but it's also got these really cool endings, which I can show you. These really pretty endings, actually. Puts kind of the other companies to shame a little bit, because they're kind of like laminated wood, and they're really pretty. They're really pretty to look at. And so, yeah, I've really been impressed with these, and I'm going to be replacing all of my cables for my Knitter's Pride and Knit Picks needles with these Chiaogoo-like cables, which will be great because then I can use these cables more, or I can use these needles more, and the cables won't drive me crazy. And so I figured, you know, some of y'all who may like prefer the wooden of these companies better over Chiaogoo, which I do, but also prefer the Chiaogoo cable over these guys' cable. And so, yeah, I've been really excited about this because it means I can use, you know, these needles that, as I said before, are very important to me. And I've also been gifted other needles that are, you know, different, but are the same connection. And these also work. I believe that these are also Knitter's Pride, but they may be Knit Picks from Knit Picks, this website. So yeah, that's my acquisition. That's been super exciting because it means that I get to use, you know, all these needles and enjoy it more. Because, I mean, look, I've got basically a full set of these. And yes, I use a Chiaogoo case because I prefer it, but yeah, I've just been really excited about these. And like I said, I believe they're even cheaper than Chiaogoo, because I believe Chiaogoo for one cable, it's $5 or maybe right on line with Chiaogoo. And if that's the case, you know, I don't care. You know, if I'm willing to pay the money for a Chiaogoo cable, but have the cheaper needle tips, then I think it's worth it, you know. And if you yourself prefer the Chiaogoo cables, but prefer the Knitter's Pride tips or the Likey tips or whatever tips you prefer, and I am getting some sets of Likey tips, and I'm going to try these because this is the only type that I have is Knit Picks or Knitter's Pride. So I haven't actually tried for sure that Likey fits, but I do know that my Likey cables fit these tips. So I would assume that the interchangeable tips do fit the Lantern Moon cables. So that was really exciting for me because, you know, I've been trying to find a cable option for my Knitter's Pride Knit Picks / Knit Picks cable needles, but haven't really found a solution that I enjoy. So now that I have, it's, you know, super exciting. So again, that's the Lantern Moon cables. And I believe they used to be their own company, but then are now manufactured by Knitter's Pride. I'm not really sure how that worked out, but really smart on Knitter's Pride if they did actually buy them out, because, I mean, like I said, I was almost thinking, like, if I could do that, that would be incredible. You know, I was almost like, maybe I should figure out how to do that, you know. Be a great business plan to just sell cables that are the Chiaogoo cable, but with, you know, these guys' connection instead of the Chiaogoo connection. So yeah, I believe that is all I have for now. I think that's it as far as what I wanted to talk about. Sorry for the delay, I guess, for not recording yesterday. If y'all have any questions, feel free to send them in the comments down below. If you have any comments, if you've tried Lantern Moon on Likey sets or any other set, or if you tried Lantern Moon and already knew this and I'm just, you know, slow on the draw, and then put it down in the comments. So yeah, thank you guys so incredibly much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.